This is Normalman with part 2 of The Lightning. The Lightning Part 2, Chapter 1, The New Kid, and the New School Year.
Hello there. Do you remember me? My name is Luke Bolt. I am also known as the Lightning in the town of Marsville. Yes, I live on the planet Mars because the planet Earth was destroyed in the year 2937 due to the Earth's core becoming too hot, and the Earth was so full of pollution at the time. This is what I have been told by my parents and by my history teachers. But enough about that. I am about to walk into Marsville High School to begin the last year of school. It is the year 2986, and today is the first day of my senior year. I am very excited. I see my friends also, as I am about to enter the school. I'm going to say hello quick. Hey, Brandon, how's it going, man? I asked Brandon Baxter, as I gave him a good friendly slap to the back.
Hey, Luke, how's my brother from another mother doing?
Brandon replied, as we did our secret friendly handshake. Brandon Baxter looked great. I rarely ever saw him over the summer, so seeing him right now felt pretty awesome. I can't believe that my best friend and I are going to graduate from Marsville High School in June. A truly amazing feeling it is. I then saw my other two friends, Jacob Sandzik and John Kimberson. I shook their hands too, and asked how their summers were, and everyone, including myself, seemed to be doing really well, and ready for another year of high school. I think with the school bully Mike Stike gone, everyone seemed a lot more relaxed, and the crime rate in Marsville went down tremendously ever since Mike Stike's death. But right at that moment in time, a huge black limo drove up to the front of the high school with two FBI agents in the driver and shotgun seats, respectively. They were dropping off a new student that I've never seen before in my life, but he immediately looked like trouble. I looked over at my friends and asked, "Hey guys, do you know who this kid is?" Jacob replied, "I heard on the news that there was a new kid from Mars Prairie who just moved into Marsville because he got expelled from Mars Prairie High School due to destruction of school property and physical assault to his teachers. I think his name is Darryl Diablo. But on the news they say he goes by Dr. Darryl Diablo due to his large IQ, and that he can do the same things that a scientist can do." This new kid started to walk into the school now with the two FBI agents. This Darryl Diablo had a white lab coat on. He wasn't really thin, but he wasn't fat either. He was in between. He had long brown dark hair, and it was long enough to reach his shoulders. He had light blue eyes, some freckles around the nose area of his face, and he had black pants and black shoes on. He looked just like a scientist. The three of them immediately walked into the district office to go meet with the principal. One of the students in the hallway yelled, "Hey everyone, look at the freak!" the hallway kid said in a nasty way. My friends and I began to walk to our classes to continue our day. The four of us were nervous about this new kid. He had a bad criminal record in his background, according to what Jacob saw in the news, and he was wearing a white lab coat as if he were a real scientist. Scary!
Chapter 2, Attack of the Scientist.
Darryl Diablo was a strange kid from what I observed in the hallways. People were always picking on him about his lab coat and that he should leave the school to become Dr. Frankenstein's new assistant. He often looked frustrated, and he was always being pushed over from a student in the hallway during the passing periods. I even tried to help them get up once, but he just slugged me and told me to go away, so I gave him some space. After about the millionth time that Darryl was picked on, it looked like he was going to take action about it. About a week later, I never saw Darryl at school at all. I started to wonder what he might have been up to. I was in my composition class when I noticed a huge silver robot walking around the school towards Mrs. Bassil's window. It had two giant fists and two giant silver legs and a glass see-through dome on top of the robot where you could see Darryl controlling the robot. I immediately ran out of the school and went into lightning form and flew as fast as I could toward the robot. Darryl looked surprised and confused to see me in this super-powered form flying next to his robot. I threw many rapid punches at the robot's glass dome until the whole dome shattered. I grabbed Darryl out of the machine with my super strength and flew him down to the ground. I flew back up into the air and destroyed the entire machine with a lightning beam, which caused a huge explosion. I dropped him back down to the ground and began walking towards Darryl Diablo as he was lying on the ground trembling. I told him, "Boy, don't you know you can't have destructive robots in school?" He gave me a weird look. Then he ran away from me as fast as he possibly could. He yelled back to me, "This world will be mine someday, you hear me? This world is mine!" He yelled back to me in a crazy mad scientist voice. I shook my head, and I flew back to the school. Many people at school were hurraying and cheering for me as I flew back to the building. That Darryl Diablo was a strange kid. I need to keep a close eye on him from here on out.
Chapter 3 Dr. Darryl Diablo's Other Attempts for World Domination.
1 week later, after Darryl Diablo tried to destroy the school with his giant robot, he tried to destroy the building again with a giant saucer. Once again, I destroyed his beautiful creation and kept the school safe. He tried to destroy the school 8 other times after that, all which I destroyed those machines as well, with the help of my lightning form. By the 8th attempt, I told Darryl, "Look, kid, you're just a high schooler. You aren't this crazy mad scientist who's going to take over the world and become everyone's leader. It's not going to happen. I'm the superhero of this town and of the planet Mars. So you can just stop making all these crazy things and just do your schoolwork like all the other students. Okay? You got that?" I yelled at the top of my lungs as Darryl was laying there in his now destroyed machine. He slowly got up and looked at me in the eyes and told me, "When I do become leader of this planet, I will make sure that you die first," he said, as he slowly walked away from the scene. I just knew that this kid was going to be arrested soon, sometime in the future. Hopefully, it will be very soon.
Chapter 4 Cynthia Robertson and the Beginning of My Love Life.
Homecoming was just around the corner, and I needed a date. I was talking to Brandon, Jacob, and John about it in the hallway. Brandon suggested Cynthia Robertson to me, since I saved her from the burning moon rock shot back in my freshman year. I told him I would ask her, but I hoped someone didn't get to her first. She's kind of popular. I saw her at the drinking fountain later that day, and I took a deep breath because I was very nervous, and I walked over and said to her, "Hey, Cynthia, do you remember me? I'm Luke Bolt, that superhero," I said with an attempted smile on my face. "Oh, hey, I remember you," she said excitedly. "So, I was wondering if you would like to be my date for the homecoming dance," I asked Cynthia curiously. "Oh, sure, I would love to," she said in a very happy way. "Can I pick you up around 5 p.m. the night of the dance? My parents might want to take some pictures before we head out to eat some dinner and everything," I told her. "Oh, yeah, that would be perfect," she told me. "So I guess I will see you later then?" "Yeah, I'll see you later," she said, as she headed off to her next class. I'm glad I got to date to the dance with a beautiful girl like Cynthia. She had gorgeous blonde hair, light blue eyes that matched the color of ocean water, and had a very nice thin body that looked great in almost every outfit. I would be surprised if that girl looked ugly in anything, because she was so beautiful. I told my friends later on in the school day about my date to the dance, and every single one of them was so jealous of me. I just knew it was going to be a great night ahead of us for that day.
Chapter 5 Dr. Darryl Diablo's Ultimate Plan for Ultimate Destruction, told from Darryl Diablo's point of view.
Could this be true? Could this be the end of the great Dr. Darryl Diablo? No, it can't be. There must be something that this Luke Bolt or this lightning can be destroyed by. But what can it be? I tried robots. I tried dangerous weapons that most people don't have. I've even tried making my own flying saucer, which was destroyed in the blink of an eye. There must be something that lightning cannot defeat. There has to be something. But wait. I know. As I sit here in my silver leather lab chair in my secret laboratory lair, I think I just might have the perfect idea. Good thing I killed my parents and family long ago, because this invention just might make me become the leader of planet Mars. I will create a high-tech syringe like no other. It will allow me to extract the DNA from Luke Bolt's blood, so that I am in control of his lightning form. I will then use my teleportation watch to get me back to the lab safely, just like what I did the other times the lightning destroyed my other inventions. I will quickly strap myself into the chair of my DNA blood transfer machine, which will then allow me to have the DNA with the lightning form in it inside the machine, and the machine will put that DNA into my bloodstream, therefore allowing me to become the lightning, and Luke Bolt will no longer have his superpower to defeat me. It will work. I will work. I just know it. I must get to work immediately. World domination, here I come.
Chapter 6, Homecoming Night. Back to Luke Bolt's point of view.
It was the night of the homecoming dance. I was so excited. I am all dressed up and ready to pick up Cynthia Robertson for a great and promising night of dancing. As I adjusted my black tie and straightened out my red button-up shirt for the last time, I made sure I had the fancy jetpacks and the homecoming tickets and some money for the dinner. So I was all set to go. When I got to Cynthia's house, her mother answered the door and introduced herself. I then introduced myself and told her that I was the Lightning, the hero of planet Mars. We chatted for a little bit about my superhero adventures and misadventures as Cynthia was finishing up getting ready for the dance. She came down her stairway all ready to go, and I couldn't believe my eyes. She had the most beautiful light blue dress I have ever seen, and matched her beautiful eyes perfectly. Her hair looked really nice, and she had just the right amount of makeup on. She was so beautiful. I couldn't believe that I was going to the dance with such a good-looking girl. My parents rang the doorbell shortly after Cynthia came down the stairway. My parents met Cynthia's parents, and Cynthia got to meet my parents, and then both our parents took pictures of Cynthia and I outside before we left for the homecoming dinner. Cynthia and I went to this fancy restaurant called Lou's Fresh Garden. We were served a fancy shrimp and noodles dinner, which had delicious creamy ranch sauce over the shrimp and noodles that tasted really good. We had got a good-sized portion on our plates, too, so we were definitely full after we finished our meals. Cynthia and I got our fancy jetpacks on and flew over to the dance. It was really fun at the dance. We had a really cool DJ that played lots of really cool songs that were the biggest hits right now in our decade, and there were songs that were really fun and easy to dance to. Brandon Baxter, Jacob Sanzik, and John Kimberson all had dates, too. I didn't recognize their dates because I don't think any of them were involved with any kind of varsity sport, nor were any of them involved with a club or group at the school. I think they were their own group that hanged out a lot with each other after school. They were still pretty girls, but nowhere in the league of Cynthia Robertson. After the dance, I was done. I took Cynthia home, but right before she went into her house, she looked over me and said, "Luke, I had a really awesome time tonight. Do you think we can hang out again sometime?" I told her. "I would love to," I said with a smile. Then before she went back into her house, she bent over and gave me a kiss. I was officially in love.
Chapter 7, I am the Lightning no more.
The Monday after homecoming was probably the worst day of my life, but I wasn't aware of this yet. In fact, my day started out really good, as my friends and I were telling each other about our homecoming nights. All of us had a great time. My day truly didn't go downhill until the end of the school day, when I went to get my jetpack at the jetpack starting station. I was getting my jetpack ready to get me home, until I heard somebody walk up to me slowly. I turned around and saw Darryl Diablo. I immediately said, "What do you want?" He replied, "You want to fight?" I gave him a weird look at this point and said, "Kid, I do not wish to waste my time with you. Get out of here before you cause trouble." Then he looked to his side and said in a softer, but eviler voice, "I was just asking if you wanted to fight." Then I yelled back, "Look, kid, I don't want to waste my time with you. I have some homework I gotta do, and right now, you're the reason why I'm not home working on it." I then turned around and tried to get my jetpack ready again. Darryl started to take a couple of steps back now, and then he said, "Come on, All I'm asking is if you'll fight me right now. I then looked back at him, frustrated at this point. Then I noticed he had his hands behind his back and was hiding something. He was giving me an evil stare. He clearly wanted to fight. I then shouted, "You want to fight? I'll give you one." I went into lightning form and flew over Darryl in anger as I was about to throw a very powerful punch. Darryl revealed what was behind his back as a high-tech looking syringe. He rammed it into my arm, causing me to fall to the ground in pain. I tried to fight him off, but he was draining so much blood out of my arm that I could barely move. Out of nowhere, he vanished. He had a teleportation watch, which I didn't know about at the time. All I could do was lay there like a weakling, as I had just had most of my blood removed from my arm. When I was finally able to get up, I realized that there was something different about me. I didn't have the lightning form anymore. I tried to go into lightning form, but it's no use. I'm not the lightning anymore.
Chapter 8. A powerless Luke Bolt and the end of Mars as we know it.
I got home as soon as I could with my jetpack. I told my mother that I didn't have the lightning form anymore. That Darryl Diablo took it out of my body with that terrible syringe. I watched the news with my parents later that night. There was an hour report about a superpowered man causing chaos on the whole planet Mars, and he appeared to look just like the lightning, with the same superpowers and abilities. He was later identified as Darryl Diablo, the same person who was expelled from Mars Prairie High School due to destruction of school property. The only thing I could do at that point was cry with my parents as we were watching Mars come to an end with Darryl Diablo causing destruction on the planet with my superpower. The next day, I was lucky that my family and I, as well as the town of Marsville, survived the night from Darryl Diablo's reign of terror. I immediately met with Dr. Sabadilla, the same doctor who discovered my superpower back from my freshman year. We talked about possible ways for me to get my superpower back and to stop Darryl Diablo from destroying the planet. We later came to a conclusion that Dr. Zabadilla knew some people who worked with top-secret projects with the government, and that there was a super suit that was just recently made to fight off Darryl Diablo that has the same super abilities I had from when I was the Lightning. Dr. Zabadilla and I wasted no more time. We met with these top-secret government agents at once.
Chapter 9. A chance to fight back.
When Dr. Zabadilla and I got to the government base with our jetpacks, some security guards let us in, since Dr. Zabadilla had the right kind of ID to enter the base. I was allowed in as well, since he told them I was the superhero with the lightning, and they recognized me from TV from all my heroic work. The leader of the Supersuit Project led us to the right way to the room that contained the outfit. His name was General Frederick Byrd, and he was in charge of all the government's top-secret projects. When we got to the room, I was quite impressed with the supersuit. It had some strong-looking green armor for the arms, legs, and body, and a very strong and durable dark yellow glass dome for the head. It's where the person wearing it will be able to see. I was immediately allowed to use the supersuit, since I was the Lightning and the hero of planet Mars. I had to fill out some papers before using it, and swore to bring back whatever was left of the suit after Darryl Diablo was defeated in battle. I was told to make sure that Darryl was still alive after the battle, so that way I could get the lightning form back to my DNA with the help of some scientists at this base. General Frederick Byrd got some people from the base to help me get into the suit. The suit had the ability to track down a certain subject, in this case, Darryl Diablo, using the heat-seeking technology. The suit allowed me to fly with the help of some jet boots where my feet were on the suit. I simply jumped, and the suit activated the jet boots, allowing me to fly high into the sky and search for Darryl Diablo. It was time to save the planet.
Chapter 10. Super suit-powered Luke Bolt versus Dr. Darryl Diablo.
The supersuit tracked down Darryl Diablo right away and flew me over to where Darryl was. He was just about to start destruction in the town of Marsville. I said, "Hey, Darry! Stop what you're doing right now!" Darryl looked over at me with his stolen superpower, and what was weird with it was that when Darryl was in lightning form, his eyes were completely red. My eyes are completely white when I'm in lightning form, but we both have spiked up hair from when we are in that form, though. He said, "So, the hero has a new power. Well, let's just see how this power does compared to my almighty lightning form." He got in a stance to do a lightning beam, but I quickly flew up in the area and flew in a circle around Darryl so his lightning beam would miss me. He yelled, "Lightning beam!" As I moved around in a circle even faster now. His beam missed me. I flew down and threw as many punches at Darryl as I could. This suit allowed me to do some very powerful punches. Darryl was getting hurt now. He ripped off his lab coat, making him shirtless at this point. He then threw many rapid punches of his own back at me. I blocked them all the best I could. His lightning form was much more powerful than Mike Stike's Zioxis form. I then tried to do a lightning beam of my own using the super suit. It was working. I charged up enough power for it, then yelled, "Lightning beam!" I shot it out of my hands, and that knocked Darryl Diablo onto the red sand of Mars. But he wasn't finished yet. He still had a good fight left in him. But his mouth was bleeding at this point, so that must have been a sign that I am being a tough fight for him. He then tried to do some rapid punch and kick combinations on me. I blocked him the best I could, but I was starting to feel weak. I had to find the quickest way for me to end this fight the best way I possibly could. I started to fly behind Marsville High School. I had a plan. Darryl was trying to fly toward me to do some more rapid punch and kick combinations. I quickly gathered just enough strength to do another lightning beam. I performed a smaller one than I did before, but it was able to knock Darryl against the wall of the school, knocking him unconscious. He wasn't dead, but very weak. The supersuit had a communication feature on it. I told General Frederick Byrd that Darryl Diablo was down for the count, and that he was alive enough that we could take him back to the base for a DNA transfer so I could get my lightning form back. Some U.S. Air Force troops arrived at the scene to get Darryl back to the base, and the supersuit had enough energy for me to get back to the base as well. Thank God for Dr. Zebedila. If it weren't for him, I would probably never get my lightning form back.
Chapter 11. The lightning is back.
Back at the secret government base, I thank General Frederick Byrd for allowing me to use the supersuit. I thanked Dr. Zebedila for giving me access to this base, and I thanked everyone involved at the government base for their time and effort in making such an amazing suit. It was time for the DNA transfer. I was in one tank of water, while Darryl was still knocked unconscious in the other tank of water. They gave me some sleeping gas so I wouldn't drown. And because it was going to be a long procedure, I woke up 8 hours later, and I had my lightning form back. I could feel it in my body. I was told that Darryl was sent to a maximum security prison, where he will be incarcerated for a long time. I was then sent home, where my family was more than happy to see me. This was also a perfect time to get together again with Cynthia after some very hectic days for everyone. It would be a nice time for her and I to hang out, as the people of Mars start to get everything back to the way it normally was.
Chapter 12. A peaceful remainder to my senior year.
The rest of my senior year of high school was quite peaceful. Cynthia Robertson and I all went on several dates. We were very much in love, and I even took her to prom near the end of the school year, which turned out to be even more fun than my homecoming. But more importantly, I got my high school diploma at the end of the senior year. My name on my diploma was Luke the Lightning Bolt. After everyone went outside for some graduation pictures after the graduation ceremony was finished, Cynthia ran up to me and asked if I could go with her behind the school for a few minutes. I ran off with her, hoping to have a magic moment. But what I didn't realize at the time was I was in for the most depressing moment of my life.
Chapter 13. Lightning Form 2.
When we came to the spot that Cynthia wanted her and I to be at behind the school, she looked into my eyes and said, "Luke, I want to thank you again for being such a great guy to me throughout high school." I told her, "Out of every girl I've ever met in my life, Cynthia, I must say that you were the most beautiful girl I've ever laid my eyes upon." We slowly moved toward each other and kissed. She then told me, I wonder what it would be like to kiss in the sky." I slowly walked behind her and picked her up and started to fly to the sky slowly with the help of my lightning form. When we came to a comfortable spot, I said, "This is what it's like," I told Cynthia with a smile. We kissed again, but our kiss was quickly interrupted by a group of lightning balls that shot up into the sky. I flew Cynthia back down to land as quickly and safely as possible. When we were back on ground again, I started to look around Cynthia and I to see where these things we saw in the sky came from. Shortly after looking around, Darryl Diablo slammed to the ground as hard as he could with a giant machine so that the land around us shook. Darryl was in a giant blue machine with giant blue legs and blue arms and a seat on the top for Darryl to sit in. At the palms of the machine's hands there were 2 lightning balls ready to be thrown. I yelled, "How did you get out of jail?" He replied, "I had some destruction bots that helped him break loose from the prison," Darryl yelled. "If I can't destroy the lightning, I will have to kill his girl instead." Darryl flew over to Cynthia as fast as he could. I tried to throw as many punches and kicks as I could at the machine, but no use. The metal on Darryl's machine was too tough to be damaged, and with the right hand of Darryl's machine, Darryl grabbed Cynthia and started shocking her to death with the lightning ball, and was shooting lightning balls at me with the left hand of the machine. I managed to dodge them all, but there was nothing I could do to save Cynthia. As she was screaming for her life, I charged up for a lightning beam and shot it at the 2 arms of the machine. It destroyed them. Cynthia fell to the ground, fried to a crisp from Darryl's machine. I never felt more miserable in my whole life. Darryl was laughing viciously at the death of Cynthia Robertson, and I slowly picked her up and looked at her burnt face. All I could do at the moment was cry, as Darryl continued to laugh at the death of my love of my life. The only thing I felt now was anger and revenge. I slowly put Cynthia back to the ground and stood up to stare at Darryl straight in the eyes. I was never more ready for combat. Darryl stopped laughing as I went into the most powerful lightning form that I could. I was screaming so loud in anger that I started to feel something even more powerful in my body than the lightning form. I kept charging up my lightning form, but I noticed a barrier of lightning bolts circling around my body. My hair became spikier. My muscle mass and power was beyond anything I could possibly imagine. I stopped screaming and charging up for power, and flew straight up into the air to do the most powerful move I could in this lightning form, too. I raised my hands in the air above my head, pushed my hands downward to make them look like flat surface. With all the power that I normally used for a lightning beam, I started to create a giant sphere of lightning bolts above my head. All Darryl could do was stand there in fear. I yelled, "Lightning blast!" and threw the giant sphere down at Darryl. It began to melt his flesh away, and the only thing that remained on the ground from where Darryl was standing was a pile of his bones. I flew down to Cynthia's corpse with hardly any energy left in me. All I did was lay there and cry next to Cynthia's body. She was gone, and there was nothing I could do about it now. The love of my life was gone forever, and at that moment in time, I did not think I could ever love again. I just laid there next to her and did nothing. My shirt was entirely ripped. I had no idea where my graduation gown was. My parents had my diploma, hat, roses, and flag, and my pants were all ripped up as well. I just kept laying there until the ambulance and police came to take care of me and the area around me.
Chapter 14. It will forever be the lightning.
1 week after the hectic time at graduation, I attended Cynthia Robertson's funeral. I think I cried just as much as I did when I saw her die. I was told that Darryl Diablo's bones were buried at Marsville Cemetery. Cynthia's family and I requested that his grave was as far away from where Cynthia's grave was. People told me that I had to move on from Cynthia, that there were other fish in the sea for me to fall in love with someday. But as of right now, my eyes were still for Cynthia. I'll have to wait on the love life for quite a while. All I know is I will always be the lightning. Evil beware. Wherever you hear thunder, expect to see the lightning.